What's up, y'all? Riley from Smoky Mountain Overland here, and today we are talking about probably the most asked about modification that we've made to the Gladiator so far, which is our Alu-Cab Canopy. We're going to talk about why we chose it over, say, a Bedrack, the quality, the functionality, how we use it, our overall thoughts on it, and if we would recommend it. But before we get into that, I want to take a minute to talk about something that is of particular importance to us and hopefully to you as well. As you can see, I'm wearing a pretty cool little Gladiator Christmas shirt, and it's a little small because I've gained some weight since last year. I got married, it's okay. But we did these as a limited run last year and donated all proceeds to our favorite charity. So right now we are actually running a sale on our website, and we have some t-shirts, stickers, some light brackets for the Gladiators and JLs, just some little stuff that complement your Jeep lifestyle if you're into that. And for the rest of the month, 10% of all sales are going to the charity that we like to give to, which is called Christ Starfish Foundation. And if you don't want to buy from us, consider checking them out and donating directly to them. I'll put a link in the bio. Just a brief synopsis of what they do. They raise funds to help children and their families who are hospitalized or otherwise in need of financial assistance because of non-cancer childhood illnesses. Reason being that there's a ton of resources for families who are struggling with cancer-related issues, but no charity, as far as we know of, outside of Christ Starfish Foundation, that specifically helps with non-cancer illnesses. Christ Starfish takes zero administrative fees. Every cent that you donate goes directly to the kids and their families, and it could be anything from, paying a gas bill that somebody's gotten behind on because of unexpected medical expenses, to buying a wheelchair-accessible van. So they do just a spectrum of good for kids and their families, and if you're feeling generous, great place to give a donation. So that aside, let's get into this video. So one of the first questions that we usually get when people see our canopy is, why not go with a Bedrack? And it's a great question, and we've run Bedracks in the past, so we have nothing against them. In fact, they have a lot of advantages over something like the Alu-Cab Canopy. For example, they tend to be lighter, although that's not always the case. The road armor rack that we had before this canopy was actually heavier than this canopy. A lot of people think they look better. I tend to agree, depending on the build, depending on the Jeep. If you want to mount accessories on the exterior, a lot easier with a rack than with something like this that has a smooth side. So shovels, rotopacks, whatever it may be, if you want quick access, rack might be the way to go. They also come in different heights. Some of them are even height adjustable. So if you want to run a tent low, you have no need for a full-size rack, whatever it may be. A rack gives you flexibility when it comes to the height of whatever's on your bed. However, there are many advantages to the canopy. Some of those tie into disadvantages of racks, and some of them are just unique and independent to canopies themselves. So let's talk about what those pros and cons of canopies are, how they compare to the racks that we've used in the past, and why we chose a canopy for this build. In terms of functionality, at least on the surface, and we'll get more into our specific functionality of this canopy in just a moment, racks lack security and they lack weather resistance. And so again, depending on your use, a rack might not fit the bill. For example, we've run a JCR half rack and a road armor adjustable rack in the past, and they served their purpose. However, our camping gear would get wet, would get dusty, muddy depending on the terrain, which, not a deal breaker. You can keep them in, sealed boxes or whatever, and it's not a big deal. However, security is a big deal. And we travel cross country a lot, whether we're staying at campgrounds, hotels, stopping at a restaurant or, you know, Walmart, whatever, leaving expensive equipment in the bed and in the Jeep in general is far riskier with a bed rack than it is with a canopy. In fact, we had an experience not too long ago where somebody broke our back windshield and tried to get into the Jeep despite us having a bed rack. And so with this build, although you could hypothetically break into a canopy, we wanted to prioritize security and having lockable doors on all three sides and blocking access to the cab through the rear windshield was paramount to us, and it's a huge deterrent for a would-be criminal. We're in Florida right now, so it is hot, so I have sought out shade on the opposite side of the Jeep, so forgive me for this jungle background. The second question that we usually get is, why did we choose the Alu-Cab Canopy specifically? There are a lot of great canopy options out there for the Gladiator now. There weren't initially, but since its inception, ARE, RSI, and I believe RLD have come out with canopies, and all of those are great options in their own right. A lot of it comes down to aesthetics. A lot of people like the smart cap look. It's hugs the body lines of the Gladiator really well, whereas a lot of people argue that the Alu-Cab looks kind of boxy or utilitarian. And while we like that look, some people don't. So what are the reasons outside of looks to choose the Alu-Cab over the other options? Let's get into that. First and foremost, the Alu-Cab is composed completely of aluminum. So when compared to especially the RSI and RLD options, which are stainless steel, the Alu-Cab is far, far lighter. And if you own a Gladiator or other mid-size, small pickup truck, then you know that payload is at a premium with these things. So with an RSI or RLD, you're looking at, you know, 165 to 180 pounds of weight over the rear axle. And while that may not be much if you're driving a 2500, when you're driving a Gladiator, that's a lot. The aluminum construction of the Alu-Cab keeps the weight down for the entire package to only 130 pounds. So as I mentioned earlier, this canopy actually weighs less than our Road Armor bed rack did. So that is a tremendous advantage, especially if you're overlanding and planning to add extra weight in addition to the canopy. For example, your rooftop tent, all your camping supplies, etc. That weight savings comes in clutch. The second selling point for us was the functionality. Yes, it looks utilitarian, and that's because in some ways it is. For example, it has the largest doors, both side and rear, of any option on the market. You'll notice how thin these corner pillars are. That means easier access to all your gear, including the interior of your bed. Beyond that, Alu-Cab has been in the game for a long time, so they're established. They have a ton of accessories ready to go for your canopy for your Gladiator, which makes accessorizing and building your cap for your purposes far easier than some of the newer options to market. So what are some of those accessories? Well, we have a few of them here. You can get these side cabinets, both in half length, which we have on both sides, and in full. So if you wanted to fill out an entire side, leave one side empty, or one side full, one side half, whatever combination you want to do, you can. These are pretty intuitive. They just bolt right up to these T-tracks and then down here to the cap as well. They also have what they call an ammo slide, which is this little attachment in here. And this, again, attaches to your canopy. It's designed to fit the Wolfpack boxes from Front Runner. So we just have them strapped down. They just can be pulled right out. We use one box for me, one box for Hannah, our clothes, toiletries, etc. when we're camping, and keeps them elevated. So if you are into overlanding for extended periods of time or just like organization, having tiers of organization, so levels, is incredibly useful. It allows you to carry more gear in a more organized way, and all these accessories are, again, aluminum, so they're super lightweight. These cabinets weigh next to nothing. Slide is a little heavier, but I think it clocks in with the hardware and everything at like 11 pounds. So it adds next to nothing, and you get incredible functionality out of that. Some odds and ends that are kind of icing on top of the cake, if you will, are that AluCab is an established brand. They've been doing this for a long time. They're well known in the industry. So we really trusted that this product would live up to that name. And so far, spoiler alert, it has. And then secondly, it is one piece. So a lot of the canopies out there right now actually come in multiple pieces, which is great for shipping and for assembling on your own if you want to. However, it introduces potential weak points, both in terms of structural integrity, which is highly unlikely but still a possibility, and in terms of weather sealing. So rather than deal with potential issues down the road of, you know, the gaskets wearing out in the sun or whatever it may be, we went with the one-piece construction. That does come with its downsides. It ships in a much larger package. It's probably a little more difficult to install, and you may even want to have a shop do it, or seek out a shop for it to be delivered to, so you don't have to pay extra shipping, etc. However, in our opinion, the benefits outweigh those cons. We also liked the attention to detail. For example, all three doors have these 2-stage lights, which is fantastic when you're camping off grid. There's a company that makes different color lenses for those, so if you are not into the blinding white light, you can get amber or red, or I think there's maybe one or two others. So that's really nice. We'll probably be doing that at some point. And then the canopy itself, not that you need it, but it comes with a brake light. So, and it is bright, it's LED, so it's a little bit extra safe when you're traveling at night. Especially the Gladiators, they have this third brake light on the tailgate. However, a Tacoma, you would want this because the tail light is actually on the cab. So really handy feature, ties right into your existing wiring, as do the lights where the doors are. As you can tell, the seal on this back door is firm, keeps water out, keeps dirt out. You can get some dust in here if you're out for a long time, but so far we haven't really had an issue with it, and that includes wheeling around Moab for a while. So far so good. Which brings me to the last point that I wanted to discuss, and that is what our thoughts are so far. So not only is this probably the most asked about modification to our Gladiator so far, it's also our favorite modification. In fact, of the 3 Jeeps that we've owned and modified, this might be our favorite addition to any Jeep so far. It's that good. Reason being, not only is it high quality and well thought out, it also completely revolutionizes how you can think about storage in the bed. For example, these accessories that we've already talked about are fantastic, but they're also elevated. So we have the potential to build, and we do plan to do this, a custom storage solution for the bed itself, which integrates our power, water, compressor, fridge, etc., and is protected from the elements, protected from the dust, protected from potential thieves, and is out of the elements, right? So in Florida, your fridge would take a beating in the sun, even with a bed rack, even with a rooftop tent. As far as quality goes, this thing has been rock solid. I've taken the time to check all the bolts a couple of times since we installed it, and no issues whatsoever. It doesn't make any noise even when you're off-road, even when you're bouncing around on rocks all day long. And all of these struts have held up great. They have plenty of power without trying to clock you in the jaw, which some do. And I think that Hannah would agree. This has made our camping experience infinitely better. You don't need something like this, but if you can justify it and you will use it enough, you won't regret it. Having had 2 Bedracks in the past, this blows them out of the water. It's not even close in terms of functionality and what it does for your Gladiator outside of camping, just daily use. Unless you're carrying, you know, potentially larger bicycles or using it as a work truck where you might have to use or have to carry larger objects, I would not hesitate to invest in this canopy. Last thing that I suppose that I should show you is how the rooftop tent is mounted. I realized that I just omitted that, so we'll show you real quick. The canopy comes with T-track on top, and AluCab sells their own aluminum crossbars and numerous sizes of these risers, so you can adapt it to your particular Jeep build, rooftop tent, whatever it may be. We haven't had any issues with those either. In fact, the way that you're able to mount your tent is far more secure with these than with like round crossbars. I'll show you that. Because they're both T-track, you can mount with these brackets, which you can put lock washers on. It's way harder to access, way harder to take off. So if you live in an area with high crime, or just don't want to wake up one morning and your rooftop tent be gone, which has happened to friends of ours, sorry guys. This, while it won't it won't for sure keep your rooftop tent where it belongs, it does help deter thieves. Finally, if you have a soft top, which we did when we initially got this tent and we have since swapped it, the risers can give you the space you need between the overhang of your tent and your soft top. So if you want to retain your soft top and run a rooftop tent that goes over your cab with the canopy, risers, and crossbars, you can do that. We've tested it, it works. And then also each of the doors has 2 locks on it. Comes with 4 keys, so you can split those up however you want. I carry 2, Hannah carries 2, works out well. Locks are nice and springy, and you can even get weather covers for these if you live somewhere where they might ice over. So there you have it, a lot of me talking, a lot of this AluCab canopy, and hopefully I covered everything that you might have been curious about. If you have any specific questions, please drop them in the comments below. I will be sure to respond to you as soon as I can. I guess that I have to throw this disclaimer out there because the internet is a mean place. This is not a sponsored video. We didn't get this canopy for free or even at a discount. We paid for it out of pocket because we wanted it, and I'm making this video because I like it. Anyway, again, thank you for watching. If you like this content, I guess subscribe, leave a comment below, and I'll be sure to get back to you. Last thing, reminder, if you're feeling charitable, go donate to Cry Starfish, go pick up a shirt or something from our store. Both links are in the description below. Hope you have a very Merry Christmas, and hopefully I'll be back with more videos soon.